Good morning to all. The presenter just said this is a session we are waiting for, and I thought possibly she meant the session after which we have a long break. So it must have been tough listening to all of us. It's really a pleasure and a privilege to be here. I thanks Dr. Hiten for inviting me here. A very important seminar. I'm equally happy that this has a very wide participation. I thank Dr. Sudarshan, the Executive Director from CDAT Bangalore, Mr. Dilip Burman from the CCA office, and of course Cotton University, our Vice Chancellor, and all the people assembled here. We are here on a very important topic, a discussion on something which is really something great. And we don't have to just rest on our laurels now. There is so much work to be done. And that is why I'm very happy that the mix of people that we have here has academicians, has technology people, and I believe some startups too. Because the story is not yet over. There are so many more things that we can and we should be doing. So let me do my bit. I mean, you said I'm a technology person, but I'm more a civil servant who loves technology, who believes this is the most transformational thing that has happened, technology, and more is happening the way AI is rolling out now. So my views on this thing, I would not say they are controversial, but they will not necessarily follow the so-called official line. This is what I as a civil servant think, and maybe there are some pointers for some of the startups and some of the research fellow here to take on and build on this. So here's what I want to say. Okay, my association with this area itself, more than 20 years ago, I think 2002-04, when I was heading the IT function in the CAG's office. I said I'm an audit and account service officer. I was heading the IT function, and that's when the talk about cryptography was so very popular. I remember having a thick fat book on cryptography, reading about symmetric key, asymmetric key encryption. I was really blown by the idea that encryption can allow this kind of features to happen. This kind of authentication, non-repudiation, all happening because of mathematics itself. Trust that could be generated in this manner. I found that so very fascinating. Those were the very early days. Even in there, there was a problem that my department used to face. They would take out those transfer posting orders. Those are very important. If you look at any bureaucracy, the transfer posting orders are very material. People are waiting for that or dreading that. And when you get it, that clock starts ticking, 14 days or something you have to hand over and join there. So it used to be sent by email. Now email is immediate, but the hard copy will follow. And the hard copy will be signed by the concerned HR head. So till the hard copy hits you, should that be the date when it should be counted? So that's when I had bought, in those days it was called PGP. Anybody recall what was PGP? Yeah, the pretty good privacy. You could buy, it was an open source thing also, you could buy those tokens. And I said our emails should be using PGP so that when they hit the mail account of the recipient, we should say that's a formal order received, and we should act upon it immediately. Those were the early days, and look at how far we have come now. Amazing job done by the whole government, CDAC, MAITI, to have come to this stage when so many things are happening. So yes, I have been fascinated by this, and I see a lot has been done. So at the heart of it is the idea that trust that could be engineered, isn't it? I don't have to trust me. I have manufactured trust using technology, using encryption. So you will hear echoes of this idea throughout today's program, how trust is being manufactured, and we have our colleagues from CDAC who will take you through the technical sessions, understanding what is the symmetric key encryption, what is the asymmetric key, and how those digital signatures are actually made. And if you follow this technology closely, you will also recognize the same idea is there underlying blockchain also, isn't it? Which takes the argument to its logical conclusion. The argument regarding trust. See, if trust can be engineered, and there will be conversations around this point, why not engineer away the need for institutions entirely? You will see blockchain. There was a popular book on blockchain called The Trust Machine. I read that about 7-8 years ago. Once again, I'm blown. You love technology, and you see something as radical as this, you said, yeah, that's the way to go. There's a lot of talk of using blockchain everywhere. Replace the regulator with a smart contract. Replace human judgment with consensus algorithms. But this does not really resonate with somebody from the government. I'm not persuaded by that conclusion. And not because the mathematics fails. It does not. Your CDAC experts will tell you the mathematics is great till that quantum thing comes in, and then of course you will have some other more technically superior mathematics which even makes sure that the quantum computing also does not crack it. True. But what we got to remember is that the institutions are not a bug in the system of human organization. It is not that we got to obviate away the institution by having trust generated only through mathematics and encryption. Institutions are not a bug. They are the feature. And I'm a person fundamentally from an accountability organization, the C&AG. We are the auditors to the government. This is where the accountability lies, at the institutional layer. So, blockchain cannot be held responsible. The code itself cannot be called to account. So when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, you know that, you need a person, an office, or an institution that can answer for it. Let's remember that. So what I want is not institutions replaced by technology. It is institutions married to technology. The two go together. Each doing what the other cannot. So somewhere the technology and the institution have to walk together. And this is my thinking all throughout, even in terms of AI. You'll hear all about everyone speaking about agentic AI and how magical things can be done. You can have those Claude bots doing some amazing things. All the time the talk is about the agent and removing the human from the loop completely. And this is something that we got to say is not a desirable feature at all in terms of AI or for any technology. Even trust, you cannot make it disappear to such an extent that we say it will ride totally on the technology part. So yes, I began with the idea, with the fascination that trust can be engineered. But what I realize is that the infrastructure of the institution is also extremely important. But now coming back to the whole PKI thing, let us not deny, rather let's just very clearly affirm that this is a civilizational achievement. What we have done through the PKI and the digital signature is an amazing achievement. You heard Dr. Sudarshan speak about the small UPI transactions too. Somewhere they are riding upon what we have been able to create through this through the digital signature part of it. I remember personally the time when we used to started filing income tax returns online. All of you would have done that. I mean, those who are, some have started, I presume, but some who have been filing away for years or decades now. The initial online time, you fill it up online, all is good, and then you download that acknowledgement, isn't it? And then you sign it. And you post it. You think you have submitted the return, but no, you haven't. You have this 120 days by which this particular thing has to be mailed, put it in an envelope, give it to Government of India Mail Services to take it to CPC Bangalore. That's when it was finally done. And those were the days. It was digital, but not completely. And suddenly, over the last decade or so, we have done the impossible. We have now enabled 1 billion plus people. I mean, everybody who has Aadhaar is now in a position to digitally sign a document. So gone are the days when you take a printout and send something now. You can digitally sign it, you get an OTP. I mean, not all of us need to have a token. We had our colleagues speak about, some of us carry their digital tokens with us, carry the signature with us. But for many of us, through Aadhaar, we got that one-time key pair being generated, and which you learn more from the CDAC colleagues here, that how that also allows us to sign. So yes, we made sure that digital signature is something which is available to everyone now. And with eSign, that was truly broad-based. It is available to everyone. And this is not a small thing. For me, this is the most amazing thing, and this is a civilizational achievement. Especially, when you look at every other country on the world now. So what India has built, what we have built together, is something truly remarkable. Nobody else has done that. We are the only country who can say that. We know that US is struggling. I mean, they can't even get around to the idea. I mean, they're not even okay with the idea of identity being available centrally. So they'll have different states doing different things. Now they'll think of generating a common wallet or so. Europe also, even though it's one European Union, you still have so many countries thinking, no, I will have my own identity, and they're trying to fix the way to bring around and have one single common one. But India, so many states with the great federal structure, yet we have one identity that we have been able to create. So amazing achievement. Hats off to the whole CDAC, MeitY, Government of India, the thinkers behind Aadhaar, who made sure that all of us could have this amazing power to legally sign any document. Very easily done. That was fantastic. And not just that, the whole architecture. And you'll hear more from the colleagues who speak about how the CCA, the CA, the whole PKI part, not just the encryption part, how it was done so well in India so that we didn't have to rely upon any external entity. The root entity is still there within Government of India. We heard about our Deputy CCA speak about it. So we had the whole of thing working there. We built an India stack. Those are amazing achievements. I'm guessing, you are guessing, there must be a but somewhere, isn't it? You can't just be praising something. I'm an auditor, finally, sir. So that's where now my next part of the talk comes in. What is it? What is the research agenda? What is it that we need to do further to make things even better? The first observation that stems is from sheer use of this technology. I mean, we all use e-office. If you go to any government system, you won't see those big stack of files anymore. You'll see all of us standing before a screen, not standing, sitting, looking at a screen, and either we have a dongle there or waiting for an OTP to come. Everyone is using e-office, and our files, all the sarkari kaam happens on files, and we are all digitally signing it. You know, our signature is affixed there. My first question, and the thought that comes to me, and hence the question, is what did we achieve? Because I believe if you really look at it, what we achieved was legal non-repudiation. I could not say that I did not sign it if it is digitally signed. But can anyone truly say that that person really signed it? Half the time. No, I would not say half the time. I don't know how many bureaucrats are doing it. But the token may have been given to the PA. Sign kar dena, you know. E-sign. One phone call, the OTP can be shared. So all we did was that we got legal non-repudiation. You could not walk away from saying you did not sign it, but we did not really get the signature most of the time. And I believe this is a gap. I call it the presence problem. We got a signature, but we did not really ensure that the person really signed it. You know, earlier, if you look at the bank's check, you know, the system worked. You had to sign a check. Do you think it worked because it was technologically very great? No. Matter of fact, I have had checks bounce back on me saying my signature has changed. You know, because after being a bureaucrat for so many years and you're signing those GPF statements or some signs, you do hundreds of signatures, it will mutate. A signature is not something permanent. It's not a biometric marker. It can undergo a change. But the bank was more of a trust system. It was an institution acting on top of it. But here we are saying pure technology will replace it. So all we frankly got was a non-repudiation part. So that's the first, the presence problem, which ideally we want the signature to solve. The current setups of signature does not do that. Even that small UPI payment that I make, I never connected UPI also with the digital signature part. And I was just Googling away, so exactly how does it work here? So in a way, I mean, you'll be corrected by colleagues who will speak more about it. But somewhere the pin that we are providing is considered to be a signature. So once again, we are using a proxy for a signature. All we are saying is that my IT Act has said so, that when we append this thing, it means that you have done it. And you know, the normal course, a signature was an ink, a pen, physical thing, on paper, and the idea was only you and only you could produce that signature. And if you did not do that, and somebody else does that better, that is a forgery, and the institutions will come after you. But here I could have just given the OTP across to someone or my dongle to someone, and that would have been called as a valid signature. So there is a gap somewhere on the physical presence that somehow needs to be addressed. That's the first part. The second part that I see, and which some of my colleagues have come up to me, and today I was testing it again. I'm again speaking in the government context of a digitally signed document. I sign a digital document, and I can happily edit it after I download it. So, I mean, I'm talking about e-office system. A PDF file is digitally signed. My colleague said, see, I can edit this PDF. One of my IAS officers' colleagues said so. And today I know I can highlight it, I can underline it. But I remember way back when I used to create an MD5 hash. You know, when I first started working on this technology, even 25 years ago, when I was first reading about encryption and being fascinated by it, the idea that you can take a document and create a hash out of it, that MD5 hash is still one of those simplest algorithms. It is unique. You change one underline, put one dot anywhere in the whole Word document, and the hash has changed. But here I have a digitally signed document, and I can happily do various things to it. So what did we achieve? I mean, a paper document which is signed, you do one underline, I'll know that you underlined it. And you use it often enough, I'll see it's a forgery. But we are now having a digitally signed document within our e-office system, which for some reason seems to be open. So maybe we got to realize that when we digitally sign a document, sealing it permanently is also an essential part of that signing. The sign and seal need to go together. How did that gap arise? I'm not fully understanding it, but there's something that all of us need to kind of see and address that. So I would say a signed document should be read-only by default. Where did we miss it? We'll have to work on that. Another gap that I note very clearly is the designation gap. When I sign a document, or when each of you, any one of you signs a document, in my case it says K.S. Gopinath Narayan, and that's it. Stop. Who is K.S. Gopinath Narayan? It doesn't really matter. Most of the time when I sign something, the only reason my signature has any value is that I am currently Principal Secretary IT to the Government of Assam. Yesterday I was Principal Accountant General. It is my designation which allows me to sign something, and for that to have any meaning. Current sitting, all it does is my name, which I don't think is that very valuable. And one reason could be the way that we have the certifying authorities being structured now. And I was studying, you're saying this certificate, any digital signed document will go through a chain, a certification chain. You'll learn that from a technical people who will explain to you more about how the trust chain is established. But when you think of a chain, you at least think there'll be many links. That's why it's a chain. And if you look at the real world now, most of the big job placements, etc., they do happen through a trust chain. Pallav knows me. I know Pallav, so I can speak that, somebody asked me, he is a very good person, I know Sahabuddin. So, and he would speak about somebody else. So this trust chain was real among people who actually knew each other. How many hops do you think we have in our trust chain? Our certifying, the root certification authority is there. How many hops before I get the certificate? Who actually knew me? As he was told, there's some 27 certifying authorities. So there's root. There are some 27 certifying authorities. The number could be different. And then there's me. That's it. You don't expect Mudra to know me. How did Mudra give me my digital certificate? I have a token. Yeah, I had a video call with him. But it was nothing beyond what Aadhaar was already doing. Okay? So this is where I see another problem with the digital certificate. It is appending a name to the document. But most of the time you'll find that your name, that you as an individual are nothing. You matter only as a part of institutions. So most of the time, especially in the government, somebody signs a document, there's only an authorized person who can sign. Your land record, the DLR did not sign it, I signed it, I can affix my digital signature on it. It has absolutely no value. Because there's only one person, one right person who should be signing it. So how is it that we have digital certificates in place of such value, which is bereft of the designation part of it? How did that happen? And this is where I'm thinking that we need to now start thinking, the certifying authorities that we have, should we not have had an authority below the CA, especially for the government? Maybe every state government becomes one, assisted by NIC. Every department, Ministry of Government of India becomes one. And that ties to the designation that the person occupies. You can have it strongly linked to the HRMS system, so that it knows that I am Principal Secretary today. My certificate could have been revoked by the government the moment I get transferred and holding some other job. So somewhere the certificate without the designation, at least in the government setting, has absolutely no meaning. And it may be the same in so many other interactions that we have as private citizens too, where just the name is not going to be enough. So this designation gap that I say has to be addressed, and one reason could be the certifying authority is too far away. So do we necessarily by design need another layer in place, an institution that people can trust? Now if you're going to say that the only thing I'll ever trust is a blockchain and an encryption algorithm, once again you're saying that I don't trust in humanity, I don't trust institutions. And frankly, being a government servant, I for one can never say these things, because I got to say and I got to believe that you have to trust the government, that you believe us. We are the government and we are really here to serve you. So by that logic, any government institution itself could have been a trust level which could have authenticated and have more information about the person in its own system. So this is a solution that has not been brought out. Some of the startups, somebody should start thinking on what we can do further. So as I said, in one line, we have digitized the signature, we have not digitized the authority itself. So what should we build next? According to me, one part is definitely a government PKI sub-hierarchy. Now how does it work? is there a role for our nimble startups to do a job? Is it something that we have to ask our so dependable but so ancient NIC itself? Should NIC be stepping in? Do we want some other younger companies to come and fill this gap of helping the next level of certifying authorities to be there? That's an idea that you got to think about. What else? How do we also tackle this genuine co-presence of the signer and the content? This gap that we currently have, that my token is here and I'm like a million miles away, yet the document can be signed. How do we fix that? Because if you really want me to have trust in the signature, you got to say that it is the closest analog to the person actually signing it. Because that was the whole idea. It is not just a legal accountability. The legal non-repudiation is a legal issue. But we're talking about the trust and the belief that this person signed it, this person read it. He or she is the one who signed it. This presence part, how do we technologically link it, which is much, much faster, is something that somebody should work on. And should we depend so much on the single authentication spine? I believe Aadhaar carries a huge amount of the burden currently now. And sometimes you may have seen the Aadhaar OTPs can really take a lot of time. I totally agree with Dr. Sudarshan, who said, that we have been able to bring the cost. I mean, we did our stack in such a manner that we can do it still at a very low cost. I'm saying, can we bring the cost down even more? I mean, when I physically signed it, I don't know, the ink cost may have been like, 0.1 paisa or something. Our digital signature currently, if you look at the rate list for CDAT, it must be at least 25-30 paisa or something of that kind. And you remember the number? Because we also, the AUA, KUA, my DITEC is, we have also one of the authorities. It is still costing something, and one reason could be the infrastructure is there, Aadhaar. And Aadhaar, a lot rides on it, the OTP has to come. We are really clogging up, and if you look at the government system itself, not everybody has a token. So a huge number of signatures are being generated, e-sign is being done, hitting those servers and sending those SMS, etc. It takes time. One of my service colleagues said, can you find something faster? I can't keep waiting for signature. This is a problem. Can I do it very fast? He says, can I not scan my face or put a thumbprint on top of it? Something which is really fast, which is a signature. We need something. Currently, too much is riding on Aadhaar. Can we think of some other alternate solutions now? We don't need to have only one way of doing things, but which tackles this problem. So, finally, I've taken enough time. I know cryptography is the foundation. We all love it, and technology people would say it's such a great thing. We don't need people, we can use algorithms. And that's what AI is also going to say, I think. We all have to believe that the institution is the primary thing that is there. The institutions generate trust. Mankind, humanity, all of us live within institutions. We're going to find a place for the institution also in building this trust hierarchy, and not just base it on the technology and the cryptography, and as you said, the quantum will come and find some other technical solutions. Maybe there can be a way for the institutions to be augmented using technology. We're going to use a mix of the both, and that's what I'm looking for. So that's my conclusion, that we have people who are from the research background, you have from startups here. What is it that you can do to make the tremendous achievement the government of India has already done, has already made? How do we make things better going forward? And this is not a solved problem that we just laud. I think this is still an open problem. We have done a lot, but there is scope for improvement. There is scope for the startups and the research community to start thinking and coming up with the new solutions on that. So for the researchers and academics, I would say a designation-bound certificate and the presence problem. How are you going to address that? Do we really, is a signature without a designation, how valuable it is? Conduct some research. Even the individuals, do we need that? Or is it really adding value only when you have the designation? How do you bind the two together? What kind of revocation list should there be? When transfers can happen so often. And the physical presence of the person at that time, how do we ensure that? Is there a fast way of doing it? And what else? I guess I want to leave behind this final idea. You'll find other things in my thought here on which you would work upon, is that institutions matter. And I'll keep coming back to this one. I'm probably because my concerns around AI and the way they are developing now overweighs, it's weighing very heavily on my mind as to how when AI progresses further, there will be a desire to do more and more through algorithms and less through human institutions. And I believe that will be a major failure. So even within the PKS system itself also, I want you to think of solutions which leverage the institutional structure that we already have and then use technology so that we can do things better. So that would be my small suggestion at the end of it. If you come around with any solution that can make our e-office use PKI and this digital signatures better, please come to us. We would love to pilot that, especially the designation-based one certificate, and where Government of Assam itself, if you can help us in becoming a sub-CA. And if that can help in efficiency, can have the signing faster, we'd be very happy to pilot that, support that in any which way. And thank you once again for inviting me here and for enabling me to share some of my views and ideas on this one. You all do get a break now. You deserve it. It's been long now. And after that, you have a deep technical sessions where I want you to be curious and to understand this amazing technology of cryptography and how we have reached this particular stage where India is among the leading nations in the world. Possibly the only one who has achieved this one. Thank you.
Speech, actually, I feel that many of us couldn't even take off our eyes while you were speaking. Probably, I think most of us will agree with that. If someone has got any question, I mean, we would like to take this opportunity actually that if someone, we have got our research scholars also with us, and you must have got some of their, with regards to e-office, some of the questions they will definitely have in their mind. So if someone has got any question, if you could please ask sir, because we will probably not get this kind of an opportunity again so quickly. We would definitely love to have sir with all our students in another session very soon. But this is a very great opportunity. Is there anybody who would like to ask any question?
No, somebody has to.
Now that I have said.
Not when Dr. Hiten has said, that you have to ask the question. So it could as well be, how many questions will you answer today? Something like that.
I was thinking of one thing, that trust plays a major role in this kind of an infrastructure. Now with AI and all, so many things can be replicated so easily. What you see on the screen is not what you believe anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, everything can be replicated so easily. So earlier, if you have a browser, we know that okay, we trust this browser. Google Chrome, we can trust Google Chrome, and then say suppose Firefox, we can trust. But Google Chrome and similar things are coming so quickly. Now, how do we keep on leveraging on this trust? And as you rightly said that. Earlier, if I need to validate someone, I would probably go to that village and ask the headman about it.
Right.
But we are going far away to ask.
We're going far away.
Far away because the central authority is somewhere else now. Yeah. So, what do you think? Like, how is the future going to be? Will we be able to continue leveraging on this trust for a long time?
See, I mean, this is the most important question that all of us will need to grapple very much. The answer lies in economics itself. I remember some 10-15 years ago, Harvarian, the Google's chief economist, he had said when data becomes ubiquitous and cheap, what becomes valuable? It's guys who could analyze the data. In today's world, when information analysis has become so wide and so easy, what has become scarce is trust. So suddenly we got to realize that trust was always there, but trust value has suddenly gone up exponentially, which we're not realizing now. Because when content can be generated, when videos are so authentic, when voice can be cloned, everything has become ubiquitous now. So trust is one which has become the rarest commodity. And the cheapest way that the technology companies will tell you is that I will solve it through technology. More encryption, more cryptographic tools. While forgetting that human institutions always existed. And there is no way that society will disappear and we will only be individuals. I remember Margaret Thatcher once said, that there is nothing called society, there is only individuals, etc. There are people, societies which believe, institutions which have believed that individuals are the only thing that matter. Individuals and family, but nothing called a collective. So we got to believe that institutions matter. So institution building becomes extremely important, and the old trust network becomes important again. Whom do we trust is people whom we actually know. And we don't have to rely on technology all the time and don't look at technology as the only solution. So once again, my thesis has always been that augmentation technologies are the only one that we should be encouraging, and not the whole-scale automation replacement of people. Hence, when people are going to be important, your trust problems get solved because when you're going to trust individuals and institutions also. That is the only way. Else, these amazing make-believe videos and content that is possible now, what the eye sees has absolutely no meaning. So you got to trust something which only individual can. I trust him, I trust you. That's all.
So any other questions from anyone?
Sir, there was a discussion regarding designation with the names
Right.
in our digital signature.
Yeah.
The thing is that designation is, in our system, designations are always assigned to a person.
Very true.
Regarding, I was a purchase officer in Assam University prior to joining this organization, and this ID, that is token, was coming to against the Aadhaar. But Aadhaar is always assigned to a person, not to a designation.
Very true.
So initially I was also scared of why my personal Aadhaar should be given to the official purchases.
I know, I remember those debates.
In case any issue that the whole thing will come to my, then the authority and convinced that the designation cannot be challenged. We can challenge the person only. In case of any issue, because the signature is given by the person having their intellectual property, so I understand what I am putting my signature as. In that case, they have convinced me that whenever your person, your name is coming there, it denotes that you are holding that post. So in future, in case of any problem, any issue, any confusion, you can contact the person. You may get transferred to some other designation, but on that particular point, you was holding the chair. As in our system, it was related to the person who is holding the chair. So that's why I think the person name along with designation may be more fruitful, because who was the person at that time having that, holding the chair to making the correct decision, to putting the yes, I understand what is written on top of my signature, and I take full responsibility of the signature. What I feel that the names are important along with the designation, that will solve the matter in proper way.
Excellent. You made valuable observation, and possibly I was not clear earlier. Your valuable observation was that the accountability is that of the individual all the time. Whenever as a government servant I take a decision, or any one of us takes a decision, the accountability is that of the individual. And that's why my concern overall, and just I'm walking aside here on this one, is that algorithms which are run by the institution, if we have an AI solution deployed in Guwahati University or Cotton College, you cannot say this algorithm told me. You still want somebody who's owning up their decision, because the accountability can always be that of the individual and never that of the institution. That is the only way society can function. Now, answering your question on the name and the designation part, what I was saying was that the signature that I have signed, when I put down, my accountability is mine, but the recipient of the document, how does he or she know that I am the right person to sign on the document? That is the part I was meant, that the pairing of the person who has signed from the accountability point of view and the designation is from the right of that person to sign that document. That part gets established only because of the designation. So most of us are playing a role, but the accountability is that of the individual. So the role should be an integral part of the signature. That's all. So whenever within government setting, I get a signature, it should be saying Gopinath Narayan, Principal Secretary IT, or the Commissioner Secretary General Administration. So he can issue an order saying this amount is sanctioned. Or finance, who says this has to be done. I'll give you the analog in the treasury system. Because I was with the Accountant General long enough, you know that in the treasury, when the DDO's signature goes there, in the treasury, the DDO has the treasury has a copy of the signature. So when the invoice etc. is coming, bills are being signed, he is actually checking that this is the DDO, this is the signature, and he is the authorized person to sign. Currently, the digital signature will just be a signature. It will be some XYZ. How do I know that XYZ is a DDO who has the right to draw that bill at all? So this part we always knew in the earlier systems. For somehow, we miss that in the digital signature. Maybe there's a purpose, a reason behind it. A billion people need to be given, not all of us have a designation. It's not enough to say proud father, loving mother or whatever, But when we are formally signing something, normally we're wearing some hat or the other, which warrants that signature. Maybe just citizen, maybe that's what we're trying to say. But the designation pairing is going to be important, and we have to address that. Just because Mudra can't do it, or I should take some other CA for that, maybe we need to go down to the next level. Maybe your employer. I don't know, we need a new architecture, but currently with only 3 levels, it appears too shallow. We need a person closer to you to trust you. They say about the 6 degrees of separation, go on LinkedIn, you can connect to anyone within 2 or 3 hops. That's a trust chain. 3 is too shallow for India. Mudra does not know me, even with the interview. So we need more levels now for the true trust to happen, to address your issues.
Thank you, sir. I hope, is there anybody?
Any more questions?
We wanted none.
So we can buy some.
Thank you. Thank you.